Well, major news today in that Prince Harry has been slammed by the courts. He's had his phone hacking case against News Group newspapers thrown out by the judge. Only part of his lawsuit will go to the High Court. It's to do with the bit that was thrown out was in regard to phone hacking allegations. For the very latest on this, we're going to talk to Alex Phillips in a minute, but let's talk to another Alex first, who is Alex Dibble, talkTV's Deputy Head of News. Alex, what has actually happened?
The phone hacking claims that Prince Harry brought against the publisher of The Sun, News Group newspapers, have been thrown out. So he will not be able to go to trial alleging that The Sun hacked his phone. Also, the judge has decided that it was implausible, in the judge's words, that a secret agreement existed between the publisher of The Sun and Buckingham Palace.
This is what Prince Harry was arguing all the time. There was this secret agreement, and that made things more complicated. Tell us what you know about that.
So the background is that in order to bring a privacy claim for compensation, as Harry was trying to do, you have to do it within 6 years of the alleged offences taking place. He claimed that the hacking that he's arguing about was taking place as far back as the 1990s. So the question was, how can he bring the claim if it was way more than 6 years? He said that the reason why he didn't bring it within that time limit was because of this secret agreement, that there was a deal done between the palace and the newspapers that the palace would not seek legal action over these kind of practices in order to spare the royal family embarrassment. So he claims that was why the existence of that agreement prevented him from taking this legal action.
So he was, am I right in saying, stop me if I'm wrong, but it appears to me that Prince Harry thought he was essentially above the law in this. There was this sort of 6-year statute of limitations kind of idea that you couldn't bring things up. He said, oh, there was a secret agreement, which the judge has said is implausible. It didn't exist. But he's saying he should be able to do this, even though he's not legally allowed to.
Quite. And the significant thing is the judge has said, once Prince Harry in about 2012 knew that he may have been the victim of hacking, at that point he could have very easily instructed his lawyers to look into it, and at that point found out whether there was a plausible claim for phone hacking and brought it at that point. So there is no reason really why he delayed, and also that the existence of the agreement in and of itself is implausible. So that's been thrown out. As you mentioned, there is this one part of his case that can go to trial. That's the unlawful information gathering through the use of, for example, private investigators. So we expect that there will be a trial in about January time on that particular point, but the phone hacking claims have been thrown out. And significantly, the company, News Group Newspapers, has released a statement, very comprehensive, but it's described this ruling by the judge as a significant victory, and says that in arguing the case, the Duke of Sussex had alleged of this secret agreement. The judge has found in his claims in relation to the secret agreement that was not plausible or credible. There was never such an agreement.
And that his witness statement was vague and limited as well, is what the judge also says. There was quite a lot of criticism for Prince Harry, wasn't there?
There was indeed. With judges, because they are doing their job on behalf of the Crown, they will do so always, and their language will always be tempered. You have to sort of read between the lines often when you have a judge's statement, and this is one of those occasions.
Not too many lines to be read between when he said it was implausible. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, isn't it? That's pretty damning.
Judges often use language that is, they always go slightly less than perhaps you could do if you were a publisher of a broadcast, or the way this will be reported will be perhaps slightly the word implausible will be there, but the actual finding of the judge,
I think people will draw their own conclusions. We should be absolutely clear before we read out the statement from News Group newspapers that they are part of the same group that owns talkTV, that is News UK. So what does the spokesperson for News Group newspapers say?
The spokesperson for News Group newspapers has said, in reference to the part of the trial that will take place, that what's happened today substantially reduces the scope of the Duke of Sussex's legal claim. The exact nature and scope of any trial of the remainder will be subject to further hearings. So kind of wait and see on that. But with regard to this, the drawing attention to the fact that the judge found the Duke of Sussex's claims in relation to this secret agreement not plausible or credible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward, really, isn't it? Alex, what do you make of this? This is a real slap down for Prince Harry.
Yet again, he's going to have to find something he's good at, isn't he? Because he left the royal family and wants to maintain visibility in the public eye, wants to maintain some sort of purpose, but he has no talent, he has no acumen. There's nothing that he's particularly famous for apart from being Prince Harry, and he seems to be running out of road with that. But it's good. It's a good thing, actually, that he's not able to bring a huge chunk of this against the newspapers. A lot has happened since the phone hacking scandal. A lot has changed in journalism, and all he's essentially trying to do is piggyback over on what was essentially quite a serious issue. I mean, frankly speaking, it was an extremely serious issue at the time, in order to just keep fanning the flames of his own celebrity and then moan about it when he gets celebrity.
Totally.
So I think, you know, a lot of people are just fed up with him now. Just shut up, Harry. Just find something to do.
Yeah, I should say thanks to Alex Dibble, the Deputy Head of News for talkTV, for bringing us up to date there, and Alex Phillips is with me. But it is interesting, just looking into some of this. The secret agreement was implausible and inherently unlikely. I know the word I would use, but I think the judge has gone probably as far as he can. The secret agreement accusation had, as the judge said, an absence of any other witness or documentary evidence to support it. There was no witness or documentary evidence to support what the Duke claimed. He said his witness statement was vague and limited, and previously, of course, they've been described as Alice in Wonderland stuff. I mean, without saying, mate, you made it up, the judge has basically gone as far as he can, really, in all of this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, there is part of me that feels sorry for him. There is. You have to feel sorry for this guy.
There's no doubt that he's damaged.
He is so paranoid. He is damaged. And without doubt, what happened to his mother would have had a massive impact in his life. But, you know, if you were surrounding him, if you were his therapist, assuming he's got, you know, a team of them in Montecito working on his noggin at every moment of the day, wouldn't you be saying to him, perhaps the best thing to do to heal would be to take a step back?
Yeah.
Get over it, get your closure, shut up, get on with your life, focus on the real things.
I asked the question, who are these people around Harry and Meghan? I just think there's some sort of hodgepodge of hangers-on Hollywood nonsense people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how can you rebuild brand Sussex when it is so incredibly damaged? And he's now got this purpose he appears to have, and he wants to sort of single-handedly bring down the media. He's got these highly paid lawyers who are probably saying, thanks very much, mate, give us as much of your money as you can, we'll of course represent you, and he wants the very best, and he's used to the very best in his world, but it's just isolating him from the truth.
I mean, the whole concept of victimhood bringing some kind of social status came from America, didn't it? I mean, the British were always stiff upper lip, never complain, never explain, being the mantra of the royal family, and this getting capital and kudos out of, you know, having some sort of misfortune against you.
Well, remember the car
currency
chase
of Hollywood.
Do you remember the car chase, the paparazzi car chase?
It's crazy.
And I mean, they wanted to go on Air Force One with Joe Biden. They wanted a lift back to America at one stage, and they said, well, actually, no, we're not giving you a lift in Air Force One. Make your own way. It's it's this sort of entitled idea. We don't want to be a royal because we hate the royal family. We don't want anything to do with Britain because we all hate the press and it's all dreadful, and everyone thinks that everyone's racist and thinks Meghan's a terrible person because she's mixed race. Well, no, actually, people really welcomed Meghan and wanted her, and no one cared. No one cared. And now he's more isolated than ever.
Yeah.
I just think, if I were him, I wouldn't know who to trust.
It's exploitative, and on some level it's almost abusive. You know, the thing I find really kind of quite creepy and Oedipal is the way that Meghan Markle paints herself as Princess Diana. She desperately wants to be like his mum, you know, the poor beleaguered princess who is the queen of everyone's hearts, who lives in some sort of Disney fantasy, and it's got to have this, you know, hyperbolic narrative about struggle and survival, thriving, meeting the prince who sweeps her off her feet. And, you know, she's in cloud cuckoo land, isn't she? She's a proper sort of like textbook Hollywood narcissist. But this is actually kind of a vulnerable guy here.
Yeah.
And he has been removed from everything he knew, his social circle.
And are they even together?
Family,
are there all these rumours about her? Are there all these rumours about her living in a living in a hotel room and all the rest of it?
The talk is that, you know, things aren't happy in Montecito mansions. So it wouldn't surprise me.
And they may have to downsize because they're running out of money. The Netflix aspect, they're not too happy either. The grifters argument in terms of Spotify, it's really not going well for them. In his written ruling as well. I just have another little bit here. The judge said, I am satisfied that there is no reasonable prospect of the Duke proving at trial that he did not know and could not with reasonable diligence have discovered facts that would show that he had a worthwhile claim for voicemail interception in relation to each of the News of the World and the Sun. He already knew that in relation to the News of the World, and he could easily have found out by making basic inquiries that he was likely to have a similar claim in relation to articles published by the Sun. And just a little bit more of that News UK's statement. Should say that News UK used to publish the News of the World before it closed. It does publish the Sun, and it owns talkTV. Just want to make that absolutely clear before anybody texts in or accuses me of not saying that. In arguing his case, this is the statement from News Group newspapers. In arguing his case, the Duke of Sussex had alleged a secret agreement existed between him, Buckingham Palace, and News Group newspapers, which stopped News Group newspapers from asserting that the Duke's claim had been brought too late. The judge, Mr. Justice Fancourt, found his claims in relation to the alleged secret agreement were not plausible or credible. It is quite clear, News Group newspapers say, that there was never any such agreement, and it is only the Duke who has ever asserted there was. Mr. Justice Fancourt then dismissed the Duke's phone hacking claims against both the News of the World and the Sun on the grounds that the claim had been brought too late. So dramatic developments for Prince Harry.